Welcome back, everybody, to Blast R6 EU League. It's game number 2 for today. Playday number 4, of course. One of our super week playdays is today, tomorrow, Tuesday, and on Wednesday. It keeps on rolling. And live from our studios, G2 versus Virtus.Pro. I'm Milos, your host. With me are Fresh and Alfama. And gentlemen, we just witnessed a beautiful map on Lair in game number 1. Now the question is, what will we get for G2 versus Virtus.Pro? And let's kick it off with G2. You know, Demo isn't here, so we can push the conversation to another way. But Jack, G2, can they continue that upwards trajectory?
Yes, I believe so that they can, Milos. Yeah, I think G2, if you look at who they've played, first and foremost, obviously you can see the players on the screen and their relevant stats there. But if you look at who they've played BDS and lost, and then they've played the 2 worst teams in the competition, Fnatic and ENCE, and comfortably beaten both of them. So what we will see from G2, because they play in all 3 games this week, is we will really find out this week what is G2's level. Now, on the basis, the core of this roster, or at least 2/5 of them, are world champions. Wow, feels weird to say only 2/5 now. Obviously with Uno, Loira, and Blaz joining after they last won their world championship. But it's a world championship roster with those types of expectations. So we should see G2 do well, in my opinion, but that will still remain to be seen.
I think that's the story here. We know they're decent, we just don't know if they're good. That's the big thing, because they haven't faced any good enough opponents to show if they're great or not. BDS, it was too early to choose, right? It was too early. BDS were so comfortable, and they're so high up there that it's really hard to be contesting them. Funny enough, only Wide were contesting them. So I think right now, we have had a little bit more time with that G2 roster. Now is the real time to prove themselves.
Yeah, and one person that has kind of proven themselves for a few years now, if we're looking back to the Mexico Major for Team 1 all the way here, is Alamao. Of course, the player that everybody loves to hate in many ways, but he keeps it rolling no matter what.
Yeah, look, I'll hold my hand up here. I've been very critical of Alamao, you know, specifically when we get to international events. And I've said he's got this Brazilian curse where he can't do well against Liquid or Furia or whoever else faced, whatever. The shift from Alamao this season, look at the operators play. I know he plays Smoke on defense, but look at the Ashe on the attack.
Yeah.
There's been a specific shift from Alamao to get involved and get amongst it. He's been on the front line for G2 whilst also being their IGL. Now, when this guy is on, and I don't care whether he's against a Brazilian or whether he's against my ranked stack, when this guy is on, he is, in my opinion, the best player on earth. But it's about him being on consistently. He's having a great stage so far, and I guess if you're a G2 fan, long may that continue.
It's not often that you see an in-game leader setting himself up for success. That's the way they've been playing. The team actually, he transformed it to be Alemao dependent. And right now it's working most of the time. What I find unreliable though is that you cannot have this one player being your consistent way to go about things. BDS, they have, I don't know, they have Shaiko, they have Liquefact, they have Yuzus, they have all kind of players that can perform right now. If you make your team too reliable on one single player, and if the IGL plays for himself all of the time, at some point you'll hit the ceiling. And I just don't know if we've not seen more about this because we've only had 3 playdays with this new team, or if it's consistently going to be the playstyle of G2. And if that's the case, I'm afraid they will hit the ceiling at some point. Very similar than VP, actually.
I think that's where they're banking, though. I think that is where they're banking that Loira, that Blaz. You know, you talked about BDS and they have all those guys. I think they're banking that if Alamao's off, they've got Doki, they've got Loira, they've got Blaz. And Uno's actually been hitting shots this stage as well. So I think they're kind of hoping that you know, that calculated gamble comes good.
It is a long-term preparation to SI kind of gamble that they're going with. Of course, it's been under a lot of criticism after their weak performance in Manchester. That's why we saw this big change and shift within the team. They couldn't qualify to EWC, so we're still yet to see the full power of them. However, on the other side are Virtus.Pro. And it has been quite a while since we've seen them qualify to an international event. It seems like stage 1, many struggles. They couldn't shake themselves out of it. And now starting with stage 2, early on, shaky, and then they recovered a close game last week.
Yeah, very shaky, and honestly, that I wouldn't be confident going into this Super Week after what happened with Secret.
Yeah.
Like, arguably, they should have closed that before, and it went all the way to 8-7. It was relying on clutches against a team in Secret right now that isn't looking too good either compared to all the other top teams in Europe right now. I'm just looking at this team and I can't help but feel, is it maybe the end of an era? It seems that the longer we advance in Siege, the lower they get. And if you compare them with G2, they actually had a very similar point. A few months ago at SI, you were thinking G2 and VP were at the top of the world.
Absolutely.
And right now, they're both battling to find a way to go to a major. after making huge roster changes. VP didn't do it, but they're in a similar spot. You expect them to qualify? And right now, I couldn't say if any of the two will.
I've just been thinking, and I've still not thought of the word, what the opposite of dynamic is. Rigid?
Yeah.
Static? Yeah. Okay.
Good thinking.
I suppose what Virtus.Pro struggle to deal with is teams that are dynamic. You know, if you look at how map pool evolves, Virtus.Pro don't evolve their map pool. Operator pool evolves, Virtus.Pro don't evolve their operator pool. The meta evolves, Virtus.Pro are late to that party as well. And I think that's the big problem is you talk about they were once at the heights and now they might be seeming low. That is because of the evolution and how dynamic the game is played right now.
You say dynamic, evolution, a lot of things. However, the biggest rigid wall in front of him has been a Monty. And for those who kind of missed out on how that reaction has been, we have a set of clips just to take a look at it.
They didn't bring the Frost, they didn't bring the operator that could counter it. They had no solution for it.
Mowgli finds his one, but the pressure as VP look to hold firm. P4 goes in deep, and the Monty does his job. Lasmo's done a bit of work as well. It's always up to always from VP, it seems, but P4 shuts him on down.
Monty and Calograph is eating a couple of Goo mines, but the fire's there. Doesn't spread.
Oh no.
Over death.
He's dead. Surely.
Oh, this is bad. How? Someone help P4.
This is very awkward, but thankfully P4 can just ADS and kill always. As he looks to try and make his way upstairs, Goo mines in pocket. But that is all he can use. He doesn't know that Monty is so low HP. Lasmo comes in, a top fragger for the day. Yeah, the rush has come straight off the main stairs, and Wolves have found 2 picks off of it. However, the VP are still fighting on back. P4 doing more damage now. And this Monty is going to get very awkward. Always does a lot of damage, but still the kill has not come through. He has no gas left to make this work. He has to try and find the shot. He almost does, but there's P4 with the knife. Up the joystick now, and he will be taken out.
You want to learn how to play Monty? Well, take a look at everything that VP doesn't really do to deal with him, but also how any team against them kind of is able to corral them in and around that frustration. That is Monty and Clash and Shield operators in a nutshell, Jack.
Yeah, and that's exactly, you know, they didn't ban it the play day one. When we spoke to Joystick last week, he said, we thought Wolves would be more aggressive, so we chose to ban the Blitz. Well, Wolves played the Monty, and they absolutely destroyed VP. And it wasn't a surprise to see VP when they played last week against Secret. They banned away the Montaigne, and obviously that leaves open the Blitz. That is a big Achilles heel in my mind for Virtus.Pro right now, is that whichever one they choose to ban, as long as there is a good Shield player on the other team, they will make Monty or Blitz work. Of course, there's situational differences between the two Shields, but the fact of the matter is, both of them will be VP's weakness. And if I transfer this onto this game, who's one of the best Shield players in the world? Alamo.
Yeah.
So, you know, G2 already have an inherent advantage.
They're a Grand Tour kind of team, and I'll tell you that, against VP, they'll be running laps right around them.
Yeah, and if you think of if it was just a Shield problem, if it was the only thing, that would be okay. There's the map problem as well, because it's the same story. They struggle to adapt and have a bigger map pool, so you already know which maps they're gonna end up on. You can prepare them way easily, and you can come up with crazy meta-headed strategies to surprise them and abuse players or operators that they struggle against. And sometimes it's not even struggling against a Shield, it will be struggling against Ying, it will be struggling against Tokaebi, or new operators that are annoying to them that are played in the meta. Because the problem is they are struggling to find ways to beat all of this new content that's being added in the game all the time.
I mean, that's true, right? You know, the last game, we saw Wild when they were going on a roam player. Who did they bring? They brought Deimos, Dokkaebi, Ying, Grim, what any of us? But basically Jackal, all of those. Whenever you ever seen VP bring a lineup like that, they're almost shooting themselves in the foot by not bringing those lineups and then having other teams that use all these meta operators back at them.
No, yeah, I have to say, they seem aware. Like when we interviewed Joystick about this, he knew. They know it's a problem for them and they've been working on it. We just don't see the results yet. And I'm thinking, is it because inherently they don't understand the game the other teams do and they're still stuck in past ways, or at least the core of the team is stuck in past ways? And if that's the truth, then it's the sad thing to do, but you have to make a roster change to bring some new blood, some younger players that could be like Leighton, for example, that will bring and rejuvenate a new vision for the game and embark all the other players? Or is it that just they need that little bit more time, or maybe a new coach? Either way, they need a new vision for the game, because they have incredible players.
The one thing that always got them by, regardless of all, like we've always had these criticisms for this roster, right?
True.
The one thing that's always got them by has been their incredible team play, where you know, if one player swung them, there was always a refrag. There was always two players. They went as a pack. They were slow, you know, when they attacked, but they went together. They never made any mistakes. And the way the meta was kind of unfolding was very individual. So when they could punish that individuality. But the problem that we've seen over the last stage, and probably the first 2 games of this stage, is they haven't had that team play together. They haven't had that cohesion. There has just been picks randomly happening, which is the most anti-VP thing ever.
And if anything, I mean, you mentioned this, Jack, and we've been talking about Virtus.Pro over the past many years, even in previous iterations with these issues. However, when we look at SI24, right? Brazil, G2 VP, you both mentioned it. However, Virtus.Pro, they're looking incredible.
Yes.
They go to play online in stage 1, and we think, all right, first couple of days, this is just VP at the start of every single online stage. When they get back from LAN, it takes them a long time to re-adapt to how it is playing online. Because for those who have not experienced it, Siege is a beautiful game, but Siege there's nothing like it when you play online. And, you know, we've all here gotten to experience it in one way or another, but it's something else. There really is not anything like it. I highly recommend that if you can do that, or even sign up for any local LAN, especially for French people out there. There's a lot of LANs that happen in France. You could go and experience that. Maybe you'll be part of some of the teams that come out in the future, graduate into EUL. But that adaptation never happened in stage 1. There was some glimpses, the EWC quals, and then here we get into it. At least we're getting admissions of these are the issues that we have, we know it. But if I'm looking back at even 2021, that admission already happened. I remember having a chat with Joystick way back when, and having the same experience, the same result. Same thing when we went to SI in 2021 in Sweden. Same issues propped up right after it, and even just before it. And then no adaptation after, Jack.
They did try some things, though. They brought Pasha. They brought Pasha, you know.
True.
And I felt like this was the key to success. They kept the strong core of the team, but they brought a new young player that was able to shot call, that was able to be aggressive, that was not rigid. He was not rigid. He was not static. He was always evolving back then when he was with the old Virtus.Pro roster and they were Empire. I felt like this guy would be the spark to revive the team. And I think it worked. You see their run at SI 2024, it worked there. But it's just missing something right now, and I'm thinking they actually might need a new Pasha here to revive what's happening here. The chemistry needs to be revived.
Yeah, and it's odd to say it in that way. Sorry, but the stage is not done just yet. There's a gauntlet to go through and a map ban also to go through. Jack, can you please take us through it? We're going to go to Chalet.
Yeah, well, we talked about some of Virtus.Pro's Achilles heels, one of them being map pools. So again, look at the maps that they've banned, all relatively new into the pool.
Yep.
Skyscraper, Labs, Consulate, which obviously they played against Secret, and Clubhouse. So now what we're going to see is we're going to end up on a map that G2 are very much ready for in terms of Chalet. They probably picked it themselves. And I just feel like it's another advantage to G2.
Yeah, I think overall you would think for both of these teams, that was mid preference. But actually, when you look at EWC Open qualifiers, you actually see both of these teams, both G2 and Virtus.Pro, beat incredibly good teams in Europe on this map. G2 actually beat Wolf 7-2 in the EWC quals on Chalet, and Virtus.Pro actually beat BDS 7-3 on the same map. So you might think it's middle of preference. Right now, there is existing recent history of them having great performance on it.
Gentlemen, this is going to be a tough one here for Virtus.Pro, but how would we cut it? And actually, we're just getting the info. So there's some bits and technical issues to try to get everybody in the lobby. So we're going to hold that question of who does this map favor and why, gameplay-wise, until after this break. We'll take a quick one. When we get back, we'll have everything all set and ready for you, break it all down, and get into G2 versus VP.
Welcome to Manchester. Feels like this one has been a long time coming. Shall we show them how the UK does it, guys?
SSG sent home. Scars came so close. Talon have fumbled at the final hurdle.
R6 Esports has taken those that love it all around the world. But never before in the UK. That changes here and now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Blast R6 Manchester Major. Is our 8 final teams. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our finalists.
The world champions defeated.
There's a fire sale on tournament favorites Manchester, and the underdogs are buying.
A semi-final Saturday of Siege. Let's have it, Manchester!
Action from the bees. It goes in. Shotgun in hands. Oh my god. Oh my god. And it's heartbreak for Nath, but for BDS, their first shot in a year and a half at raising that trophy.
Are you ready to introduce our show match? Let's bring them up.
Get in there, Tom. Here we go. Bang!
How intimidating is that going to be having that stood behind? It is absolutely massive.
Our champione, Mr. Tom J. Sherlock and his team.
It's a pleasure and a joy to bring you all in to the final.
This is the Cinderella story, to say the least. I mean, they made themselves #1 NA, and now they find themselves here at the grand final.
BDS on the other side.
I think they are some of the best players in the world.
Manchester, are you ready? One more time, let's bring up our team to the stage.
The job isn't finished. Can you do this?
100% we can. We're just gonna keep proving people wrong.
Against the Solas, the fate of the intel. Day, holding up for the blood. If you didn't believe in us, I love you. Let's go.
Virtus.Pro is our team. We are playing for a long time together, like maybe 6 years in a row, and we actually think that strategic is more important in this game than chaos. I don't know, chaotically. I don't know how to call it in English, but we like structure. You know, when you step by step know what to do and know how to win the round.
Listen up! Night Haven Ordnance was stolen. Target anyone using our gear and put them down. Now load it up, let's go! Are you deaf, soldier? I said move!
Sorry, Callie. Orders are to keep you grounded.
And whose orders might that be?
Mine.
Is that all you got? Damn it! I didn't kill Yahata! Someone stole Nighthaven Ordnance and is selling it, jeopardizing our operation.
We know, but that doesn't mean you get to start a war over it.
This is Rainbow's operation now.
Not sure your butter knife will cut it, darling. You'll be up against very loud guns.
We have a squad for that. Red Hammer.
Welcome back, everybody, to the studio. G2 versus VP is still getting set up, but let's talk about that map ban one more time to kind of refresh everybody's minds on it. Refresh.
Yeah, we've had a very small update to this. This is the actual map ban. Skyscraper, Labs, Consulate, Lair, banned by VP. All of the newer maps, it did say Clubhouse last time, now it says Lair. All of the newer maps, Leo, including the map that they went close with Secret on.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that they banned away the Consulate instead of the Clubhouse, which
15 rounds, man.
The one they banned last week, 15 rounds, but also G2 have been known to permaban that map as well. So it kind of gives them a little bit of leverage, but still not too much leverage. And they're still going to end up on whichever map out of the core maps that G2 want to go to.
Then you look at G2, they ban Border, okay, permaban, that's okay. They ban Bank. Actually, Bank is the only map that Virtus.Pro still plays like the old Virtus.Pro on.
Yeah.
It's the only map that they're unbeatable on. 9-win streak, crazy map for them. Okay, you would remove that one. Clubhouse, it's their second worst map for G2, so I'm not entirely surprised. Cafe is a surprising one for me. It's a really good VP map, one of their only ones, but it's also an incredible map. 9-win streak for G2 on it. So for them to remove it, they really wanted to favor Lair or Chalet. I was expecting probably them to go to Chalet because if you leave as a decider between Lair and something, you already know that something will be there because they will ban Lair.
Now, because it's Chalet and G2 is starting off on the defense, I wanted to have, and take the opportunity, to have two great minds of Siege here between us.
Where are they?
It's a hamster under the table.
I see. Okay.
It is actually a miniature giant space hamster.
A miniature giant space hamster.
For those who understand that reference, please let me know.
That's way above my English level.
Okay.
Didn't get that.
It is one of my favorite characters in video games, actually. The hamster, not the character that interacts with him. But to talk about that, we'll ask both the hamster and the cat here. Who can take it and why? What differentiates VP and G2 on Chalet, especially with G2 starting on the fence? Jack?
Am I allowed to say Split Fury, or will everyone implode if I say that?
Death is watching right now. He's going to go wild.
No, look, so I know Split Fury is kind of a taboo thing that people don't want to talk about, but if you think about it as like fast and loose siege, opportunity spotting siege, Chalet, G2 were very innovative in that kind of ideology. Chalet is a map that suits that ideology so well because every bomb site has multiple entrances, multiple different ways of playing vertically, but also horizontally from 3 or 4 different directions, which means G2 can apply this phantom pressure and be everywhere and nowhere at once as well, which the map lends itself to that theory and way of playing Siege. And that's why I think G2 wanted to get VP there, because they know VP generally will attack from one starting point and finish at the end point, which is the site. Whereas when G2 attack it, they can be everywhere surrounding the site within seconds. So the map lends itself to G2's style of play so much more than it does VP. And this is why we say VP's map ban and map veto really can hinder them.
So this is the piece. You talk about map veto and ideology, but specifically G2 starting on the fence. Is that something that can give them a head start in it or not? How do you see it, Leo?
It could, and the reason for this is, like Jack said, the way Chalet is being played, you have multiple ways to do it, right? But for Virtus.Pro, the way they will attack is easily readable. It's step by step.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff you can do from outside. So it's easily readable, especially for a great in-game leader like Alemão. So they should know how to react to it. They should know how to get aggressive. They should know how to have jump outs, how to be disruptive in their step-by-step plays. Or even if they want to play around the late execute, burn a lot of time, they should find ways to do it. So yes, defense can be a good start for them. At the same time, I still feel like for a team that struggles right now to play as a team, going on Chalet in attack is something quite comfortable. Like I said, most of the stuff you do is something you can rehearse because most of it is from outside. So you're definitely not at risk there. So it has both ways, right? For Virtus.Pro, it's a very different win condition than from G2. G2 will find really quick and funny and creative ways to get in the bomb site, whereas for Virtus.Pro, it will be slow, methodical, readable, and step-by-step.
You know, I want to take this moment to really dig deeper into your brain. You mentioned Alemão as IGL, right? He's someone that is well known for it. He's able to flex in every moment and give the relevant information to the specific players, get them in positions where they need it to be. You want to talk kind of the theology of Siege, that idea? How do you overwhelm an IGL to the point where it disrupts a team's communication using your utility, using audio, using calls, operators, etc. to mess with them?
You take them to a map that's not Chalet, Milosh.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, they don't have that luxury. Yeah. I think and that's the thing about Chalet is, you know, if we do some theory crafting, because of course we've got a bit of a delay going on. Yeah. If you think about the top floor site, one of the primary sites, if you think about how G2 might play it or could play it, and this idea of all splitting up and going at once, Solarium window, double window, office balcony door, bathroom window, piano hallway, the main breach, up solar stairs. That's 8 different routes that a G2 player could come in. And if that's pre-rehearsed and pre-thought out, oh, we do this attack on this site, it's kind of regardless of whatever VP bring. That's why G2 are so good at Chalet. What makes them so good, because Alemão can just call that in the prep phase, and that's so simple.
In the current map pool, it is the map that offers the most obvious pressure points to the bomb site.
Yeah.
Because of so many windows and entry points, you can peer pressure everywhere.
Yeah.
You can even have all 5 of the players spider around the map, look for an opening, put a lot of pressure, bait and execute on one side, and have the entirety of the rest just push on the other side. That's the beauty of Chalet, and that's a playstyle that I don't see Virtus.Pro using a lot. Yep. What you need to overwhelm someone like Alemão, you need explosiveness in all of 5 different players going all at once with different areas and different utility. That's not the way Virtus.Pro is playing. Really not.
I can't wait for Virtus.Pro to win 7-0 now.
Yeah, honestly, I would love that, actually, because I think they're aware of their mistakes, they're aware of their problems, they're trying to fix them. I want to see them succeed, because they're incredible players, and beyond that, from playing against these guys for years, I can tell you they're great humans as well.
Well, gentlemen, it seems we have set ourselves at an impasse. As you have noticed, we're not just yapping for the fun of it, even though I do love to hear Leo and Jack just kind of talk about Siege forever, but we do have a delay to kind of put our lobby together, some technical issues, and thank you very much for sticking around with us through all of them. We will take a quick break, but actually, it is more to discover how teams, all of them here in EUL, all 9 of them, describe themselves ahead of the stage. Take a look.
What I think makes ends is I think it's a young team that's coming from T2. We don't have much experience, but I think when you watch the games, they are pretty much spectacular, so they are enjoyable to watch, I think, for everyone. We have as well a former core from the team with the coach that didn't change from T2, basically. We have the 4 same players for almost a year, 2 years, I think. So I think that's a good start to present ourselves.
Why BDS is unique. Basically, this year we almost won everything. We did 1 top 2 on major. So if you want to see a trophy and this kind of thing, you are in the good position.
We're the most flexible team in the UL. All of our players can play any operator basically.
We are playing the Red Rainbow Six, not like every team, I guess. And we have really good really good individuality. So you will see, it's not going to be boring. No worries.
I think we're all just like willing to try new things and stuff like that. I think that's what separates us from everyone else, to be honest.
Well, I would say we have like very different personalities. For example, we have like Sox, he's a gunner, a bit silent, but like he knows what he's doing. Jax is just also, he's Finnish, so he's also a bit silent, but very smart player. Leon is kind of that old dude in the team. He's like our father figure. Also, we have a new / old player in the team. His name is Ioanni. You might know him as Kanto Raketti. When I team with him, we also won the Berlin Major. Yeah, and then you have me. I've been playing for a long time. Also calm type, flexible, and just happy to be here.
So, for those who don't know, guys, G2 is the biggest and most accomplished organization in Siege. We have a big history in this game, and currently we just changed roster. So before we had like 4 players who won the last 6 Invitational from G2 in 2023, and now we have 2 new players. So from the champion roster, it's just me and Doki who are left, and so we are kind of like a new team, but we are very friends, and we have a lot of fun playing, so it's probably fun to watch us play.
I'd say what makes us unique is probably like our ability to like learn on the fly, and I think that's what a lot of other teams don't really have. Like, we are always like learning and like adapting, and basically every time we play in a visual game or a practice, we're always learning something about ourselves or a strat or whatever, and we're constantly like becoming better, which is something that I haven't really experienced before.
If I was to describe Team Circuit and our playstyle, I would say we always try to make sure we don't make anything easy for our opponents. We always try to make it hard, like playing annoying positions, annoying players, making sure like they have to think about and can't just have an easy read on the rounds. And we also have obviously a lot of fragging power. So we have like really good talent players. So we always are very strong in the individuals that can always pull a round off in a 3v4 or a 3v5, just off someone having a good play.
Virtus.Pro is our team. We are playing for a long time together, like maybe 6 years in a row, and we actually think that strategic is more important in this game than house. I don't know, chaotically. I don't know how to call it in English, but we like structure, you know, when you step by step know what to do and know how to win the round.
I think what makes Wild the team we are is kind of in the name. We're like aiming to be a pretty unpredictable team with a lot of aggression. That's kind of what the main strengths of our players are. We have a lot of good shooters basically on the team. So when you have that, you need to take advantage of it. And we're hoping to go into the season basically and be able to struggle with our aggression and our play style. We think we have a pretty unpredictable way of playing the game, and it's gonna shake up a lot of teams for sure.
The playstyle of Wolf for me, the fresh and aggressive playstyle. I think we can play a lot of style in the game. All people in the team are the key player because we play in the team. But Mowgli can make a difference in games. But all the team is the key for me.
And that is how every single team here in EUL describes themselves. It's good to have this kind of self-reflective piece of content on all of the teams and the players that we have here in EU League. But good news, everyone! Our lobby is being made, so we're going to be set and ready in just a few minutes. Let's have a chat with our casters, why don't we? Deb Marta, Pengu, gentlemen, welcome back. I mean, that first game was a doozy in its own right, but we got Virtus.Pro playing G2 Dev. How do you feel about it now that we know that it's Chalet, G2 starting on defense? Are the casters still biased towards G2? Is that what people are going to say?
Always. Yeah, I mean, we're always going to cop it for being a little bit biased towards G2, but I'm going to be honest, like, I'm a big VP fanboy. I love the story, I love the history of these players. When I saw that big roster move that happened a very long time ago, almost 2 years ago now, when we finally saw the return of players like Joystick back onto the roster, I guess the old Empire roster kind of making its spiritual succession. I was really excited, and we've obviously been very disappointed with how they've done since then. They had a good SI, but this year, since SI, has been pretty dismal. So I'm hoping that this can look like it might be G2 VP. And yeah, we know that the current G2, the current VP, they're not the same as the ones of old, but I kind of, like, part of me is channeling that old, like, G2 Empire rivalry, and I hope we get at least a flavor of that about this match.
You know what I find funny, actually, is that Pengu is back in Europe, I'm back in Europe, and whenever you two cast, we have G2 BDS and then we have G2 Virtus.Pro. It's like just the good old days. I'm waiting till we see the stream somewhere pop, but I think we will wait for a long time before that.
Don't remind me of those days. This man, the Mira player. I mean, I shared a flight with you when you were on it.
Actually, yeah. Just before I catch the flight, right back after the tournament, straight after getting first rounded, like every event. But
common occurrence here.
Yeah, I had great miles on my account. Don't worry about that. Near airport all the time.
I hope you got to spend them for now. But Nick, these allegations, the old man that just keeps bringing those old memories back.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, you can't really take like Fabian and myself out of G2, right? I think you always associate us to be a part of it, and the roster has changed so many times as well. I am with James that I want to see like some of that old rivalry with off the storylines, and I think that's kind of what we've been missing for a couple of years now, especially during COVID and Rainbow Six Siege, was we didn't have those legendary storylines the same way, and fans had less reason to care about certain matchups. I feel like we're slowly getting there, both in North America and Europe as well. So I think it's getting, like, the grass is getting greener, if you will.
Yeah, but you played against Virtus.Pro in many of its versions in the past, and I guess now we're back to how things were plus Pasha. How do you feel they can fare, and what's your point of view as the Niklas Moritz and Pengu about this squad?
I think it's a tough one, right? Because we all know that Empire/UP, the roster, they've had issues with map pools. New maps comes in, they don't learn them. Shield gets reworked, they don't know how to play against them or play them themselves all that well. They struggle at like the newer style of Rainbow Six Siege, and I think it's going to be a very tough road forward, because if you don't change any players or support staff, how are you expecting these players to magically figure things out of nowhere? They have some core philosophy issues where they see the game a certain way, that's how they want to play it, and that isn't working. Like, sure, if you go to Chalet, where like most teams do the same attack and defense over and over again, that old flavor or style can work, but there's only maybe a hand, like 2 or 3 maps that works like that these days, because maps are getting reworked, new maps are coming in. You can't play Consulate, if you cannot play Lair, you can't play Nighthaven Labs, you're doomed in best of 3s if you're VP.
Yeah, and you are preparing for that, either the playoffs or in the future, potentially for majors. But gentlemen, Deb Pengu, we'll be back to you in a bit once we get into our game. I'd like to remind everybody of our map bans and, of course, the one pick for best of 1. Jack, can you please walk us back through it?
Yeah, so as Pengu rightly just said, you know, if you ban away all the new maps, you don't really ever get to choose where you're going. So G2 would have had full certainty in the Chalet. We think they've picked it for a big stylistic reason, in that their style of Siege suits this map so much better than Virtus.Pro. Of course, Virtus.Pro don't play Lair, they don't play Labs, they don't play Skyscraper. to be honest, they barely play Consulate. They scraped over the line last week. They get very much forced into whatever map the opponent wants to play, and that is exactly what's happened in this ban phase.
Alrighty then, gentlemen, Fresh, Alphama, we are set for our game. Finally, we're done yapping. I know. But for those out there that have caught off for the past bit with us, thanks so much for staying. Our lobby is all set. We'll send it to Devmar and Pengu to kick it in for G2 and Virtus.Pro.
Thank you, Milosh. You guys might be done yapping, but it's our turn now. Pengu, we talked about the storyline behind these teams, but what about this stage? We're talking about a G2 that made 2 controversial roster changes. We're talking about a VP that hasn't made a roster change in nearly 2 years. Both of the teams, are they on the up? I would hazard a guess and say no, but G2 in particular are our focus at the moment. Can they redeem themselves after these roster changes, after a disappointing exit from Manchester? And do either of these teams have a shot at making Montreal? Well, we'll find out.
It's always a bit of like, oh, you know, no matter who joins T2, you're going to be a little bit critical of their performance and how they're going to fare in the server. But I do think that Blast and Loira, they have potential here, and I think they do have a place in the roster. Blast especially, a big name in Europe who has kind of been in MENA for a long time, playing for lower seeded teams, if you will, not really finding his way back into like the top of the leagues, but he is basically back now, supposedly with G2. Now, big surprise to me in the server, G2 opted to ban the Munty, something that Virtus.Pro struggled with so much against Wolves. P4 was running circles against them, basically much like 1v5ing some of the rounds. And then Virtus.Pro, you know, they banned the Blitz. So unless you want to play a Fuse, there will be no shield play on the attack side in the server. And I do think that favors VP because they struggled much more against that than G2 has currently and also historically. So very big surprise for me.
Yeah, and we also saw that teased out a little bit in the chat with the calls from G2 saying, Monty ban against VP, I guess we're trolling. They do love the mind games. It's pretty classic for Doki and Alamau to be in the all chat. But clearly there is a reason for it. I don't understand it, but I guess we'll see in the game what plays out when everything else is in. Like, we're talking about Ying, we're talking about all these other big hitting operators on the attack that have managed to sneak in there.
To be fair to G2, Chalet is not, in my mind, like a significant, massive Monty Blitz map. You can play it, Blitz for like the master bedroom rushes, the mini executes, Monty for general map control. But I think first touched upon this a bit on the desk before the break happened. You have so much dynamic like vertical play on Chalet, soft destruction, roaming around, and it can get very fast-paced out of nowhere. So it's not like a meta thing that we see Monty Blitz playing all that often, unlike, let's say, Clubhouse, for example, or Consulate, where they just have much more of a presence. So even if they were left unbanned, unless you specifically want to annoy Virtus.Pro, I don't know if G2 would have brought them all that often. G2 is start on defense, Virtus.Pro on the attack, and I want to see just good fundamentals from VP. Do the proper drone work, get into the building at the right times, not be too slow. G2, they like to bully their opponents in the server, try and control the pace, right? Go for a spawn peek, kill a bunch of drones, fall back to side. Oh wait, one guy hiding in a corner. They can get a bit ratty with it. So VP's fundamentals have to be sharp in this match.
In a way, they do have quite opposite play styles. It was even Joystick in some of those interviews about the teams that we saw during that break. He said, we love to play a siege that makes sense. That's their play style.
To them.
Currently, Joystick, he's going for a bit of a lurk. The Twitch drones have already cleared out these default cams. It allows him to just face check everything without fear of being on camera. And he's taken a lot of ground here. There's a little bit of vert. He's got to be careful of these angles, and now his position is revealed.
Yeah, it's the thing, fundamentals, right? Do they check it? Yep, Flash gets spotted. He's in South Solarium. I don't think he knows just how aggressive Joystick has gotten on the staircase. At the right timing, he can strike up. That's danger. The swing. Good trade there from Joystick. Really good play from him.
Does mean that his teammate will be able to be revived as well, but here comes an aggressive play. Joystick goes down. Alamau pushes for that refrag, and Pasha is still on the floor. This roam's still at large, and VP in a bit of an awkward spot. And especially with Pasha being finished off, it's not looking too hot here for VP. They had that opening kill, and since then, not too much.
They're missing a master bedroom rappel. Nobody's on that big window, and they have an office rotate, so this piano hold here is like mostly useless, mostly pointless. 60 seconds left. VP outside the building. Look at this. It's 4 people roaming top from G2. That's everyone alive in the server. They're matching VP. Now the pressure gets applied. G2 falls back a little bit. Don't want to sacrifice too many bodies in too aggressive of a position. They still have sight behind them.
And aggression continues to pay dividends for G2. It's all up to Dan now. I like the double re-roam there from Doki and Alamau to secure that kill on the other side of the map. And just a well-timed peek from Loira. He won his one. Oh, the timing here from Dan is so unfortunate. He looks away at the worst possible moment, and that's an easy kill for Doki. And you said G2 like to control the pace, Pengu. That's exactly what they did that round.
I feel like VP didn't do as much as they could have, right? Like, I kind of touched upon it. Nobody were playing big window on master bedroom to cut off the bomb site. Nobody playing office balcony, nobody office door, at least not that I could figure. It was Joystick, Solarium, stairs. It was Pasha, I believe, right behind him who got injured early on. One person's on Solarium window rappel. They basically are doing that good old, we call it hammer and anvil strat without the anvil. And what that means is the hammer is supposed to push people across the map. You know, south to north, east to west, whatever. Basically, VP are trying to shove G2 away from Solarium, away from bathroom, away from master bedroom. But the whole purpose of that is that at some point, the hammer is going to meet the steel, the anvil. That's where you make contact. So, for example, if you have an attacker rappelling in the big window of master bedroom, and then you have people push the defenders away from Solarium, well, the big window master guy should see somebody running back and get the kill. Do some damage or force maybe a keep a barrier or some sort of utility. Sami spent here, so that won't be the case. But my point is, you can't just shove people back because eventually they'll hit the bomb site and they're going to be fortified up in a 5v5. And attackers, you want to get these early picks, the early advantages. VP need to fight somewhere on the map, and as an attacker, you should be choosing where that fight happens, especially if G2 are happy to match you on the roam. You shouldn't be the ones holding passive angles, waiting for G2 to swing on defense. You should be making proactive problem-solving decisions to swing back against G2.
Defender has been discovered.
And what's more, Virtus.Pro just looked scared. Everyone except for Joystick was slow. Like when we saw that player get down, Pasha in Trophy, the guy on Trophy window from VP didn't try and push in, didn't try and secure that ground. He just played passively, and in the end, it meant that Pasha was finished off. G2 were able to retake ground. Joystick overaggressed, like you said, no one to support him. It was a rough look. Redemption now in the next rounds, as VP has started to take a little bit of map control. Ooh, bit of a spray through a wall, but I think that player on the other side, I believe it's Alamau, is safe. Pasha's in the building. Bit of damage taken from a Gumine. Again, very thorough with this droning. This is how Virtus.Pro like to play. Very slow, very methodical. But we've seen already that doesn't mean that they're dotting every single I and crossing every single T. G2 still managed to slip through the cracks.
And G2 are playing a very dynamic setup right now. Like, this is like right out of Brazil, basically. Very long lines of sight, deployable shield, playing from office master bedroom, not reinforcing all the 4 walls to the bomb site, but keeping them open while roaming across all 3 floors. Doki finds a pick somewhere on blue staircase onto Dan, and Dan was the big player previously against Secret. Joystick, you said it, keeps the team alive, he plays aggressive, but where is the team? Where is the support around him?
Yeah, we need to see the same level of gusto from all of the other VP players that we're seeing here from Joystick. An aggressive play. Another pick for Joystick. Aggressive downstairs. And since VP have the info that so many players are down below, they look to flood the site. 1 minute into the round, and a big double C4 from Blaz. That's a round ender right there. Well, up to always now, and he's got information on the very low HP Doki. A single bullet will mean the end of him. And it is another spray. Blaz almost saved this round. It's all up to always now. He needs to hide, but Blaz, the new kid on the block, he locks in another round for G2 in style.
Again, Joystick puts up such a good performance. Pasha follows through at the very end, but guess what? They both will fall to a C4. So VP, they finally get something going for them, but they're playing very linear, right? And let's go back to the desk. Fresh, he was saying Chalet's dynamic, verticality, soft destruction, there's multiple layers to things. G2 are playing the layers. They're holding library from the bomb side. They're roaming basement. They have kitchen dining control. And as long as G2 will succeed in one of those 3 areas, they will have what we call a win condition. A way in which you win the round based off fundamental strategy in the game. If they keep top floor control, well, that's the bomb side. You win the round unless all 5 players die. If you keep first floor control, you have a C4, a plant deny, and of course, you can also go for backstep. If you have basement control, you can only really go for backstep. So VP, they have to worry about all 3 levels to this, but they're only really fighting 1, maybe 2. There's always a gap where G2 can punish them. Really well done though from G2 in communication. They recognize that, hey, side is weak, but the roam is strong. Let's play around that and find a way back into the round. They did that, and then of course had to win that 2v1, which was a little bit dire, but they won in the individual gunfight in the end. G2 2-0, VP, try as you might. Joystick can find the kills, but we need to see the other 4 players step up next to him, executing together, not just relying on Joystick to do the work for them.
G2 are such a momentum-focused team, aren't they, as well? They go from a very dominant, aggressive first round to in the second, making another aggressive round, but one that doesn't pay as much for them. It was very even, and then a big clutch up from Blaz. Like, that's one that gets you firing. Now, VP, again, very slow, very careful, and these mute jammers will slow them down a little bit as well. You know, a real highlight operator for me so far is this Valkyrie. It feels like G2 always have information to make these plays.
I like the IQ from Joystick 2 times in a row, but it hasn't really been about utility for the side of Virtus.Pro. It's been about a bit of map control, a bit of gunfights. I think slowing down would be great, but the thing is, Virtus.Pro, they've already been slow. I want to see them go faster in the early stage of the round, get into the building, and in the middle of the round, that's when they slow down, they use the IQ scanner, they get the drones going, because what they need is a foothold in the map to slow down a round. They can't sit outside the building. So this round right now, 1 minute 40 seconds, they're contesting blue staircase. I like the pace right now, but we gotta see the execute.
Yeah, and that's good from Joystick. Again, he's always the one from VP to make these pushes. No one else seems brave enough to enter the building. As I say that, Alamau has managed to sneak back into games and taken Pasha down a C4, but thankfully always is seemingly aware of it. And Joystick, again, he's the one hunting. He is the tip of this spear for Virtus.Pro, and it seems like every other player on this team is struggling to prevent themselves from getting a crest upon.
Hey, take this man off IQ right now. Get Joystick on the best gun in the game, the best gadget, Deimos. I don't care what it is. This guy is getting kills. Someone else can find the Valcams. Someone else can use the IQ scanner. This man cannot do it all. Bomb sites downstairs, VP. Ideally, again, the layers, right? They want to take top floor control, either half by watching this office breach and then going for the bomb site downstairs, or fully take top floor and do some vertical destruction. The issue is, they'll have the right operators for it, and time is slipping away. While that happens, G2 keeps striking, lashing out, and they keep finding a kill to equalize whenever they're behind.
And they always push together, or fall back together in this case. Blaz finds that pick, and then multiple players retreat back to site. Uno is all the way down in Wine Cellar as well. While there is a line of sight here on the breach, they're not going to be able to go in through it. Laura, a big C4 onto Always as the Banshee slows down this push. A drop in down from the hatch for Joystick. He needs to go nuclear as the plan starts to be confirmed here by Shepard. Does Uno have a C4 he can toss up? He does! The big C4 from way downtown in Wine Cellar. Uno was more than happy to fall on back. He knew full well he could deny that plan, and he did.
It comes down to 2D chess and 3D chess. VP are playing a very simple round of Rainbow Six Siege, and G2, they are not. They understand every single time what their weaknesses and what their strengths are. Uno was downstairs beneath that hatch with a C4 for a solid 10 or 12 seconds in that 3 versus 3. Then Loira gets a kill and dies. And the second that happened, Uno realized, okay, my win condition is no longer C4 below. I have to go up the staircase and help my teammate fight it out on the bomb side. But then Uno realizes, hey, they've dropped the hatch kitchen and the guy with the diffuser is walking in from dining door. If I go back downstairs, I can very likely kill the player who's trying to plant and just win the round on 0 seconds. So Uno within 20 seconds goes from C4 deny is the win condition, hey, stacking with teammate is my win condition, to then recognizing again, hey, the C4 is a better, safer option because VP has been so slow. Again, the depth right now, the communication with G2 shining through on Chalet defense. And it's a bit of an awkward map because historically Chalet favors the attack inside. Those long lines of sight outside the building, being able to take map control with relative ease. But in the current meta of things, I don't know if this is G2 being you know, a really good defender team, or if it's just the meta kind of swinging this way. But I will say, VP, they don't look all that comfortable on the attack.
No. I mean, one player does, yeah. He's the one with 5 kills, where the rest of his team has 3 kills, right? You said put him on the best gun in the game. He's now got a DMR in the SMG-12 as he's playing that Dokkaebi. I don't know if that's the right call here. I just feel like everyone needs to match Joystick's energy levels. And I'm not saying they have to all get 5 kills. They'll have to get 1 million kills. You can't expect that. Obviously, the game's a lot more complicated. Joystick's the right guy in the right moment at the right time. But it just feels like nobody else is making moves. Everyone else is always holding an angle on a window, getting caught, dying, jumping through a window. Thankfully, Dan is able to get an opening pick onto Loira. Very ambitious operator to jump out on, by the way. The Wamai, with the regenning util, is the one that goes down spawn peeking.
Also, trying to spawn peek jump out against VP, a team who is known to be very slow, holding angles and rarely dying to spawn peeks because that's such a drone work. Oh, wait, Dan? Oh, that's risky. You see, I mean, if you lose the first player, oh my god, from dining with the holoscope? Okay, Dan gets 1. That's really great for him. But if you thought losing the Wamai early was bad, think about the Twitch. Chalet is all about those default cameras in the middle of the building, about utility, mirror windows, etc. That's gone now. You only kill default cams if you take map control, and the mirror windows can't get destroyed because you don't have an Ash, for example. I would argue that this was not worth it for VP. If they were able to make that trade, they shouldn't have, but of course, it wasn't a choice. Countered the spawn peek, and then Dan got a little bit overzealous, swinging that window, thinking he had a bit of gunfight.
It's funny, really, Pengu, because it's part of the G2 ideology, right? Like, the fact that they're swinging all the time, it gets in your head. Like, imagine you're Dan there, and you're taking a favored gunfight, but in the back of your mind, you're still thinking about that guy that was jumping out on you from a window 5 seconds ago, and it affects your ability to focus up and take that favored fight on dining. That's the G2 mantra. They know how to get in your head and continue forcing fights.
I know for a fact, if I was Dan, I would have called Dogi some names because I would have not been happy. Because, like, what are you doing there, right? Like, I have a DMR. You have no business swinging this. Are you stupid? But that's the thing. Doki is just that kind of player. That's his playstyle. He either goes really hot or he goes a little bit cold. But G2 as a team, because they're up 3-0, they can afford to take these risks because they already got a round advantage, like a 3-round advantage. Now they gotta hold this top blue mezzanine, or they gotta fall back. We know there's nobody from VP on the library balcony, so G2 should be very comfortable here. The fire going out, that's gonna be them saying, hey, we're gonna drop downstairs.
And good timing for it as well. They managed to fall back. They secede control of the top floor, but not without finding a kill for it as well. And guess who? It's Joystick who's gone down. No more logic bombs and no more top fragger for Virtus.Pro. Another very aggressive angle there taken by Blaz. Everyone on G2 is looking confident. However, Pash finally brings one back. Blaz wins his one with the SMG-11 at that long range. Again, G2 disrespecting Virtus.Pro in the gunfights. They know they're better, and they continue talking up this pressure. Now VP in the 2-on-2 have got information on one of these players, but he's sitting back safely. It's Alamau in position, and he finds his pick on the Pash. And Blaz swings aggressively for the last one. That tells you everything you need to know about G2 right now. They are feeling it.
Siege is an FPS game. And I think sometimes we forget it because all strategy, utility, reinforcements, verticality, win conditions, C4s, all this kind of fancy stuff. But at the end of the day, you can just win rounds based off getting 5 headshots and 5 bullets round over. I don't want to judge Virtus.Pro when they lose gunfights because they're taking 50-50s, because that happens, and in the current level of Rainbow Six Siege professionally, it is full of really amazing, incredibly talented players when it comes to gunfights. What I will judge them on is their strategy and their positioning. If they're gonna spend Grimpies, Capital Fire, flashbangs, and grenades upstairs to pick apart Mezzanine and top blue staircase and force G2 back, why on earth is nobody on library balcony? There would have been 2 really easy kills because we saw Alamau move from Mezzanine into library in the middle of the room and then say, okay, it's clear, I'm gonna go to the box and drop the hatch. If anyone from VP is on that big window library, you have a really solid, consistent chance at getting that kill. After you get that kill, you can either go side window, jump in library afterwards, and capitalize with your team. They have 4 players pushing with that hammer. They do not have an anvil, and because of that, they don't get those mid-round kills that they really desperately need.
If you don't have an anvil, what are you doing? You're just stoking the fire with the hot stick. Sometimes you get too close, you're gonna get burnt. That's what G2 love to do. They love to keep up that heat. 4 rounds in a row. At what point did VP call their tactical timeout? We need to see quite a drastic change in these rounds for them to have any hope of moving forwards.
Could be wrong, but I do believe that while we're watching the player cams about 2, I think it was after round number 2, I believe VP did call a tactical timeout. Because we're watching the player cams, we didn't see the graphic for it. So I do believe it's already been called out. And to make matters worse, G2 are changing up the pace with our basement bomb site, known to be very turtly, very plant-oriented, right? They're playing Super Wall Deny, Mute, Kaid, Tuberao, and they're also playing one of the most tilting operators in the game of Clash. VP, they don't like the Munty, they don't like the bits. That's been banned. Both teams, they had that agreement, no shields on attack. But they didn't say anything about defense. And if VP, a team that tends to play slow, well, if the time gets too far down and Clash is still alive, they don't have a Capital, they don't have a Sophia or Kali, but they do have those air jabs. It's the only saving grace against Doki, and time is already low. 1 minute 20, all walls are being reinforced, or at very least the ones that are reinforced have not been opened up. VP are not making any significant map progress right now.
Again, it's just so slow from VP, what we've come to expect. And we will have to keep in the back of our mind, what are they going to do about that clash in the late round? We know that VP struggle against shields. Doki, a little bit of aggressive language. The nades come through, they don't knock him back, they just push him back briefly, but he can safely walk through the Bs. The smoke also keeps the attack at bay. VP have to problem solve this, and they have to do it right now.
They didn't get the main breach on Snowmobile either, so they have no pressure on the bomb site. All of G2 can look towards Trench and help Doki basically stall things out. Element gets a kill as well. VP have no way in towards site, they have no pressure. I don't think they have a way into this.
30 seconds to play. And still G2 are holding aggressive angles, trying to take some fights. In the 5v4, they really don't need to aggress. They don't need to give VP a way into this game. The clash is looking pretty for now, but it doesn't take much for her to start to feel that pressure. Doki forced on back. He doesn't want to be in melee range, but Loira's there to support, and Blaz can jump up. 9 kills for him in this game. Shepard's the last one left. Can't even find the first. Double digits for Blaz. G2, untouchable. On Chalet, 5 rounds straight. Virtus.Pro have yet to show up today.
I love seeing how happy Doki is in that player game, because I think that he recognized he basically won the round for G2 single-handedly. He didn't get any kills, sure, but he did such a great job at finding that perfect middle ground on the clash. If you go too far forward, you die in a stupid way, the round is kind of lost for G2. Like, it's such a simple thing. Clash being alive makes VP unable to play the game the way they want to. They can't push, they can't plant, they can't walk in. And while all that is happening, there is constant information from all the positions of the attackers. A, they didn't get the main breach opened up. B, they didn't really get verticality out of it because they never roam cleared. So Doki being on that boiler rotate can see the door and the rotate itself. That's the only 2 ways into sight. So VP are constantly being slowed down by the clash, constantly being yellow pinged, and it's why G2 could play so passive and comfortable on the bomb side. They had full intel. Virtus.Pro are not doing a good enough job when it comes to droning in the drone phase and seeing the defender lineup and then counter picking. That's not happening. And in the middle round, not adapting to what they're seeing when it happens right in front of them. They are struggling to make a plan up on the fly, and this is a problem that VP is having that goes all the way back to 2019 Empire. They have their way of playing the game, and if it doesn't work, they kind of fall apart.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Oh. The start of the round, Shepard is already down. No more Grim. Grim is the only word I can use to describe how this game has been, Pengu. Virtus.Pro, I don't even know what to say about a team that we have had such high expectations of in the past, that at 6 Invitational, we're the best team outside of Brazil. And yet this is the fate that we see for them in Stage 2. They failed to make the major in Manchester, and they're not putting up a very good argument for them having a shot at Montreal.
Oh man, That rivalry we spoke about, we want it. I want the storylines. I want competition. We want close games. Game 1 wasn't close. There were moments. And this game especially has been a very one-sided affair so far. I respect Joystick for his perseverance, trying to stay into this.
A bomb has been located.
But I don't know if this is going to be the end for Virtus.Pro. I mean, they're going to need this one attacking round, but this is Chalet. They should have gotten 3, 4 on a good day, 2 on a bad day. It isn't good enough. Gonna make their way in. Always actually looking for an inter kill. Where is G2? Will they strike back or just fall back towards the bomb side?
Alamau goes down. Here's potential for another kill. Doki hasn't been taken out yet. He's just taken low. He looks to recontest. Of course he does. Loira is also coming in to support. Doki does get out of dodge as well. Like, he's read that to perfection. As I say that, he for some reason re-aggresses and Joystick gets him. Gumine now for Joystick. Numbers advantage for VP, and perhaps there is a real shot. Them coming back into this round. Still aggressive positions. And you know who's been here all day long for G2? It's Blaz. And he's got this aggressive position at the window. Big pre-fire for him. This guy's unreal today. 11 kills in just 5 rounds. One of the most stellar performances I've seen from a rookie player, if you can call Blaz that, in quite some time. Uno goes down, but not out as of yet. And Loira's come through with a big kill, leaving it up to Joystick.
Oh no.
He's got quite a few players to find. Guess what? Blaz has not moved a muscle. He's been flexing all over VP today. And with a light chuckle, G2 have found themselves match point.
It's funny because if you haven't watched EUL or if you haven't stayed up to date with like the players in the region, you could very easily be like, oh, Blaz is a rookie. Because I haven't seen his name all that often. I haven't seen it in a long time, but Blaz has a lot of experience, but in the most odd ways. It's a lot of like different teams, a lot of roster changes, and he's been kind of been like a merchant, if you will. He goes from team to team, gets picked up, whatever, goes there for a short while, goes somewhere else, different regions. I feel like Blaz not having had like a stable, consistent tier 1 team. I mean, he's a French player who's now on an English-speaking roster, but like, Wolf's been around for a long time. BS been around for a very long time. And he was never really picked up or molded by those kind of veteran players and veteran rosters. And that to me was always a big question mark. Why didn't that happen? So I'm super happy for him that he's now getting this big opportunity for G2, a massive team in Europe, a big organization. Because Blaz's name is not as big and as known, I think, as it should be. He's 12-1. You can't deny that. He's doing great right now. But he does lack a little bit of consistency. So he can go pop off today, but how will he play tomorrow? How will he play during this entire Super Week? That's the bigger question for me.
It's funny because you're totally right. Blaz isn't a rookie, but it still feels like he is the new guy on G2, and this is the biggest chance he's ever had in his whole career. You could roll the clock back all the way to 2018, and this guy was playing on teams like Mocket Academy. You might remember the old Mocket roster that made it to a few international events. He was on Penta at one point. He was on Heroic, Parabellum, Makers, GK, and now finally the biggest shot this guy has ever had in his career on G2. And he's certainly proving any haters wrong. If anything, the question on people's lips right now must be, why has no one picked this guy up sooner?
Oh boy. G2 struggling a bit in the early game. It's expected. Up against 2-pro Kaid. There's no Thatcher on the board right now for G2, so they might have the same similar struggles as VP. Laura down and injured. Not confirmed yet though. Pasha have to jump out of C4, but he's not going to do either. He's going to fall back towards the bomb side, but look at this. Uno's inside the side.
Ooh. Does anyone
He's walked in?
Nobody's got a clue! Somehow Uno has just snuck behind enemy lines on the Thermite, no less, now taken down and finished off. As Virtus.Pro try and consolidate, make their way back to site, and it's just a bloodbath back and forth. Big run out, always looking the wrong way. Almost loses his life as well. Alamau could have taken him down. Now the Brazilian will make his way inside. He's hunting for that refrag. He knows the diffuser is on the ground and Snowmobile as well. Half the round done. And G2 have stolen the bomb site, and yet don't feel comfortable yet to plant.
Stabilize, get that utility. Deimos Tracker 3 in pocket could use it as well for one location. The thing is, Joystick with the right timing, go for a great flank. Always is so far away. Sentry's being targeted. So now G2 know that, okay, the probably gonna be towards the backside of the building here should be a free plant.
The Doki to cover. And he's looking very keen for it. He's just listening for an audio cue. As he gets out the Vendetta, looks for the long angle, he backs away at the wrong moment. Now he's got information on where one of those players is. Couple of big shots and the joystick puts him down. Always against 2 to try and save what has been an atrocious match for Virtus.Pro, but absolute heaven for G2. The game is done, 7 rounds in. G2 are proving the haters wrong, and Blaz is a huge part of that today. A well-deserved victory and a well-deserved celebration for Doki and the boys. That was as quick as it gets for G2.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought in the map veto that Chalet would be a pretty good map for VP. You can do the same kind of attacks, expect a lot of the outcomes of the round, but that's assuming that you know how to play the map, and I didn't feel like VP knew how to do that. They didn't have the right rotations, the right player positions, didn't cut off the defenders on the attacking side. They were missing from a lot of crucial round-defining positions, and only joystick, like we kept saying, was actually entering the building consistently. VP got a lot of looking on the inside right now, reflecting upon their performances because this is super weak. They got more games to go and no time to figure things out.
I have no bloody idea what's going on with Virtus.Pro, but thankfully, I know some lads who do. They're on the desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And it's funny you mentioned time because I feel with the 7-0, we are back on schedule. By the way, thank you, everybody, for sticking around with us for that introduction. We got the game in. G2 put us back into it 7-0 against Virtus.Pro. And if you would have said G2 beat VP 7-0 a year ago, 2 years ago, hell, 5 years ago, I'd have called you a fraud, a fake, a liar. But that is not the case today, Jack.
No, it absolutely is. And G2 were beyond excellent today, Leo. I thought they were genuinely incredible. You know, we were sitting there looking at how they're playing. Sometimes they're up in the face. Sometimes they're playing for the time. Often they're confusing the hell out of Virtus.Pro. There was some incredible strategy going on. And when you're playing, when you're playing, it's not just incredible strategy. You also need perfect execution. And G2 were almost perfect in every single execution and every single strategy that they employed today.
You know what's funny, Jack?
Yes.
It's super weak.
Yes.
Who's super weak? VP.
Oh!
VP is super weak.
I did not expect that.
Nope.
To be fair, they were super weak, but G2 was super strong. And the reason for that is they always played the same way. Listen, they played mute every single round in defense. They went 6-0 in defense in Chalet. Why did they do that? Play intel denial against a team that is slow because you're going to slow them down. Play super layered defenses because you can go back step by step, give them a little bit of zone control one by one and slow them down. And what do you do at the end? You have intel operators. 4 rounds out of 6, sorry, they brought Valkyrie to have C4s to deny the plant. How many times did they deny the plant? Twice with C4s. Everything they were working towards, all of their strategy worked at every single step. Whether it was denying them early in a round or fighting off the execute with the C4, they did it perfectly. Just the strategy there was the only way to counter VP, and they did perfectly.
The strategy was like a big bag of tricks, right?
Exactly.
It was just like a big bag of tricks. G2 are reaching in, pulling out a different trick, pulling out a different trick, pulling out a different trick every single time. VP did not have a clue what was going on in that whole entire game. Because G2 were making it that way.
VP is the complete opposite of that. They're still the magician that's kind of showing you stuff from that hat, but it's the same exact trick every time.
And they tell you that they're going to do it.
And like they act surprised every time it doesn't work. So it's sad to be saying it, but that is the truth. And that G2 onion is a massive one. It's a fickle one to deal with, especially when the core of it is Blaz.
Yeah, Blaz was genuinely excellent today. I think, you know, you're going to see here, he got a big double C4 and then managed to win out the round from there as well. And I think Blaz, you know, slotting into the G2 system, I think a few people maybe at the start maybe said that they didn't feel that Blaz was a G2 style player. Not me. I always believed in him, obviously. But I do think that when you give him the right tools, when you give him that freedom to play, and you put him on a map where he can be as individual as he wants to be, he is a guy who's going to return you huge performances, 190 EPS, 13-2 on the KD without even achieving an entry. Genuinely excellent performance from Blaz today, and he's always had it in him. We've seen him carrying NA. We've seen him carrying MENA, so it's about time that we rightfully see him carrying inside of EUL.
It's that rise that we finally get to see. In many ways, Blaz is the continuation of Alphama.
Oh, really?
Siege.
Yeah, but he can frag. That's the difference.
Hey, you've been to more LAN events than he has, right?
Yeah, let's count. In his days in G2, we'll see. He should beat my record quite quickly.
Well, G2 are victorious today. They're one step closer to that playoff and potentially to the LAN event in Montreal. However, joining us on the interview, Blaz, congratulations on the win. Good God, how are you feeling? What a game you've had today.
Yeah, I got a game life, you know, like pretty happy, but yeah, that's good. We got 7-0.
Statement game. There's no two ways around it. Leo?
Yeah, I think looking at this match, man, it was clearly like the strategy that you guys had. You played mute every round. You played information operators. Like you clearly had a counter strat here. Or actually, you clearly had a game plan. Can you talk to us about who came up with this and how did you think it would fit against Virtus.Pro?
Yeah, like we just prepped the game together. We just watched some VOD, like just try something. Like it's VP, so obviously what we're gonna watch during the VOD is what they're gonna do in game. So we just prep everything on like we're ready for what they're gonna do. You know, like pretty obvious from them.
Was the map ban part of it? Going to that chalet, is that part of your preparation against VP?
Yeah, sure. It was in the map, but to be honest, we didn't. I thought they're gonna pick Lair, but they go so on chalet. They try us on chalet, and they just lose 7-0. So
yeah, probably not the best bet. You know what, Blaz? I'm gonna take the opportunity. We used to play 7 years ago together, I think. Yeah,
long time ago.
We were quite old. We had technically different career path, but I felt like you were always deserving of that shot to tier 1. But like the teams you were on never really had the potential to bring you to majors. And I think that for you right now, like this might be the best opportunity you've ever had. How did you take it? Like, how did you manage that expectation? And how do you feel in the team right now? Because I feel like the more we advance in the stage, the more comfortable you're getting.
In beginning to join G2, it was a little pressure, to be honest, because I know I have a lot of haters on me. I saw some bad tweets, bad everything on me, but I just try to forget, play with the boys, like just learn a new role too, because I don't play my role, I play a new role, and I try to change a bit. I think right now we are doing really good, and I'm doing good, so like I'm happy for what happened now.
Could you talk to me about this new role? Because I'm quite interested. Obviously, I saw you as a lurker before. That was your thing. What do you do now that's different? And it's already 2 times that you deny C4s right now on with a C4 on denials and executes.
Yeah. Like before, I used to be like a bit lurker, like in tree, on in depth, like more a roam guy who runs the map on just gun. But now I'm just playing more side. But I'm still free to do whatever I want with G2, and I think that's why I'm doing good right now on this role. But I think I still have a lot to learn on this role. But it will come for sure.
Okay, let's see. Let's wait for the day where Blaz is playing smoke only on the team.
It used to be a really good smoke, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you end up slotting into whatever it is, and here Blaz definitely showing up in the game. Thank you so much, Blaz. Congratulations on the win. Is that a cat behind you?
Yeah, it's my cat.
Oh my God, what's their name? Sorry, I got sidetracked.
M&M's.
M&M's.
M&M's. Yeah, like the candy M&M's. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so sweet. Anyways, thank you very much, Blaz. Thank you also for the information on your wonderful cat. I can't wait to see some pictures of that wonderful animal. Anyways, we'll see you next time. This is going to be a hell of a week for G2 and Blaz in competition with the Super Week. So good luck for that.